Manx Radio's 1 to 3, tended by Ramsey Garden Centre.
Sia and Kylie and Dance Alone here on Manx Radio. I'm not dancing alone today because I've got Ruth Keggin Gell sitting opposite me. Faster my Bean.
Faster my.
Okay, I'll try a little bit. Kiss how?
Oh, Tammy Brow ach rud beg skeju. Kiss how?
Tammy Brow, as Mish. As
Ah,
Mish.
yes, tow skiing. Yes, you're
Tows.
tired as well.
Always.
Yeah, I don't know, this morning I was really tired waking up and it hasn't shaken. I've just had a cappuccino, so I might end up speaking very quickly to you.
I can tell you're
my
kind of
eyes-
trying to slow down your speech
I know.
now, aren't you?
yeah. But yes, Tammy Rud beg ski, I'm a bit tired.
Is that seems to be the phrase that most beginners learn and never forget?
What's
Tammy
Tammy
ski.
ski?
I
think it's-
am tired.
Yeah, that Tammy Brow, I'm fine, but also Tammy Ski, I'm tired. Literally pretty much in my entire class in Port Erin were ski last night. They were all tired. They were going round and saying, Tammy Ski.
So for those that don't, we speak to Ruth
Yeah.
quite a lot, but for those who don't know, Ruth obviously being a Granuda is the Manx Language Officer. So you obviously, your day job is essentially promoting Manx, teaching Manx, spreading the word about Manx, organising Manx events. You do everything Manx, don't you?
Lots of different things.
And
yeah.
there is this new class in Port Erin, which has recently started up, Brastel.
Yes.
Nor Brastel? New
Brastel
class?
Nor, yeah.
Brastel Nor.
Yeah,
Nearly
Brastel is
got it
class,
right.
Nor is new, yeah.
Yeah. And how is that one going? Because it's interesting to sort of, it marks, doesn't it, how much interest there is in Manx when you start a new class. So is there still
Yeah.
interest?
Oh, definitely. I mean, I had sign-ups. I think I had 27 sign-ups in 3 hours. I had to close the Survey Monkey. You know, that's how people were signing up because it was just so many people wanted to learn and do it in the south. So there's obviously we could see there was a need for doing it in the south. I'm quite happy because I live in the south as well, so it's just down the road for me. And so yeah, they're lovely. They just had their 7th class last night and they learned how to say I like, and they sang Smiley Am Cavender Hay, which means I like a cup of tea, for anyone uninitiated in that song. And it's a great way song. I mean, I don't need to tell you, I'm preaching to the choir here, Christy, you're a singer, but singing is such a great way to remember language, but it's also just makes you feel good, as well. So yeah.
And when you're in a group as well, there's something about singing with other
Communally,
people as
yeah.
well, which is a wonderful thing. I mean, is there a typical Manx learner?
Oh gosh, no. I mean, I don't think so at all. People have all sorts of different reasons for learning Manx, and people come to it at all ages as well. So, people in my class, classes, I should say, range from in their 20s right through to in their older age. And I think it's always a really good time to learn because even though I know a lot of people say to me, it takes a long time, to maybe remember things as they're getting older. I read some research the other day which was saying that memory is only improved by using your memory. So that is really, if you want to get your memory to be better, things like language learning does facilitate your brain health as well, and also it's just really good fun. But we get people from all sorts of backgrounds and ages and everything, and of course off island as well with our online classes too. So there's on island, off island learners, all sorts of people learning Manx.
And I can't vouch for it because I mean some people might think, going to class again, it's like being back in school. But the classes are so much fun because it's not sitting down with an exercise book and, sort of looking at a blackboard. You introduce so many sort of games and fun elements to the classes, don't you?
With a lot of focus on speaking and listening, I should say, because the way I kind of teach is a kind of communicative method, which basically means that you're doing a lot of, as you say, games, you're doing pair work, you're doing things as a full class. It's less the teacher standing at the front of the class and pointing at a whiteboard and explaining things, and more about students actually having a go and also learning language that is relevant to them as well. So, thinking about what are you going to need to know and getting to those things a bit sooner. So you've got practical applications. So a couple of weeks ago, it was one of my class's 60th birthdays. And so we celebrated by me teaching them how to say, and they didn't know this was coming, but would you like, and I would like, and I would not like. And the idea was they'd already learnt some foodstuffs, and then I wheeled out some cake and tea for them, and then they had to actually ask for what they wanted. So they were saying, I would like ginger cake, please. So it was really good. And then they were like, oh, this is actually practical application. And of course we were celebrating one of the class members' birthdays because it was her actual birthday that day. So that was really, really nice. And yeah, I think it's trying to make things as fun as possible, because at the end of the day, our adult learners have chosen to be there as well. You know, they're making that commitment and they're coming each week to do that. And I like to have fun when I teach as well. So it's important.
Well, if you have been learning, you'll be delighted to know it's soon going to be the Cooish, and there'll be loads of opportunities to put your learning to good use. So we're going to chat more. We are chatting this afternoon in conversation with Colortis, with Ruth Keggin Gell in Grenada. We've been talking about learning Manx and ways you could put your Manx to good use. Because, of course, one of the things that I do find with my weekly classes, which are thoroughly enjoyable, I have to say, and we have had a message in, by the way, from someone else who was learning Manx, from young Juan, who's been in touch and said, Fastamai, Ruth as Christy. Well done, Juan. I love Ruth's classes. I've just been a bit slack. I missed the singing last night. She's a great teacher. Aww. And then he said, Fia vai in it.
Ah, good reminder, Juan. Thank you.
So that's a lovely message. But ways you can put your Manx to good use if you don't necessarily have a chance to get together with a group or whatever, this time of year is brilliant, because the Cooish happens, or Cooish happens. Just explain what Cooish actually is. Okay. The word itself, it's a bit sort of debated as to what it means.
It's got lots of meanings, really. Yeah, so that's a nice thing about it. So, I mean, Cooish is a Manx Language Festival. It started life in 1995 as Féile Gaelgach, which means Manx Language Festival, and it changed its name in 2002 to Cooish, partly because it's easier to say for folk who come across Féile Gaelgach and have a go at it. I think also the word failure, which means festival in Manx, but it doesn't sound so positive in Manx.
It sounds like
English.
failure.
It does sound like failure. And Cooish has got loads of lovely meanings. It can mean a subject or a matter or a cause, but it can also mean a cosy little get-together. So we'll have a little Cooish around the fire, you know, get together with people you like. So that was born in 1995 and has been going ever since, and it's developed into nowadays a 5-day festival, and this year has 26 events, and they're pitched at all different ranges of ability levels of Manx speakers, and also complete beginners as well. So there's something for all ages and all abilities, no matter whether you're a complete beginner or you've been speaking for years.
And I've got the programme in front of me, and I'm just going to randomly flick through. So it starts on the 6th of November, runs through the 10th, and just opening it up here, let's see. So on Sunday the 10th of November, so it's not in order. I'm just picking this out because it looks great.
Fair enough.
Big breakfast on the mountain.
Yes.
This is one of them. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, we're going up to Victory Cafe for some breakfast at 10:30 that day. So that's a really nice opportunity for Manx speakers to come together and just talk to each other as well, meet other Manx speakers they might not have met as well, have some breakfast. And what's really lovely as well is Victory Cafe, who are big supporters of the Manx language. Ben and Vicky's children have all been through the Bunsgal Gilgach, so they all speak Manx. They're going to have some Manx language films in their cinema throughout the week of the Cooish as well, which is lovely. Often they have motorsports films going on in their little cinema throughout the rest of the year, but it'll be all Manx language related this week, or that week I should say. So that'll be happening in the morning. There's also other things on the Sunday. There's some tiny talks in Manx, which are it's themed on a Pecha Kucha theme. I don't know if you know Pecha Kucha. Have you heard of that? It's a Japanese
sounds vaguely
concept.
familiar, but I can't remember why.
Yeah, it's basically a type of presentation where you have 20 PowerPoint slides with pictures, and you're only allowed 20 seconds to speak about each slide, and then they move on automatically.
Oh, yes.
So each little talk can only ever be 6 minutes and 40 seconds. So they're going to be miniature talks in Manx, and then there's going to be a bilingual church service in the evening, actually, at Ballabeg Methodist at 6:30. And before that, the other festival events throughout the week. There's all sorts of stuff as well. I don't know if you want to pick out any days.
Yeah, well, from the very, very beginning, for instance, on the Wednesday itself, this is brilliant for anyone who hasn't spoken Manx before, because you can go and try some Manx in the morning. Mm-hmm. That's perfect at Russian Heritage Trust in Port Erin, so it's in Port Erin as well. Just pop along. You can sort of pick up some little phrases. There's nothing more satisfying than being able to just drop a little Manx phrase into your day. It's so much. I mean, most people know Moramai, Fastamai, but like we were just saying, being able to say Tammy Ski, I'm tired, or Tammy Brow, I'm fine, or Smiley Cavender, hey, I would like a cup of tea. Little things like that you can just sort of drop in, and that's how it begins, isn't it?
It is, and even Moramai and Fastamai, and almost everybody listening, I would imagine, would know Moramai and Fastamai, partly because of what you're doing, as Manx Radio as a whole, always use Moramai and Fastamai, and that's really powerful. But just going into a shop and saying Moramai, it's actually more powerful than you'd think it was, because just those two little words, instead of saying it in English, it just helps spread Manx about a little bit more. So
that's a good one to go to. And then look at, so there's things all day on Wednesday, all day on Thursday. One of the events that looks quite interesting on the Thursday, which I would love, is the games night. And again, it's not just for Manx speakers.
Absolutely. So suitable for all levels. So there's a games night on the Wednesday night, and there's a games night on the Thursday night as well. So the one on the Wednesday night is at the Black Dog Oven in Peel, and that's run by the QE2's young youth group who speak Manx, so Manx Club After School, and they're devising all the games. And on the Thursday night, 7 till 9 in Port Erin in the Methodist Hall, there's another games night. I'm devising that one. And again, suitable for all levels. So just come along. It's just £2. Get tea and biscuits and things in there as well for that. And really pitching that at people who've never spoken Manx, as well as people who do speak Manx. Lots of things to do with numbers as well. Lots of games. I was thinking about doing a Lockton Drive instead of a Beetle Drive. I thought,
clever.
Lockton Drive, and we were just chatting about the logistics of drawing a Lockton, weren't we?
Yeah.
It's not that easy.
Draw a Lockton? You'd need a brown crayon.
You'd need a brown crayon, many brown crayons, but yeah.
Well, that's just a few things. We're going to come back and talk to you again in a moment, because there's workshops to talk about. You've got some visiting guests who are going to be getting involved as well. So more of that in just a few moments. After the break, we're going to have utterly brilliant Cocteau Twins and Ice Blink Look, playing that for my studio guest this afternoon, who is Ruth Keggin Gell and Grenada, the Manx Language Officer. As ever, we do tend to sort of get through a lot of information when we chat with you, Ruth, because there's so much going on, and especially with the Cooish, it is the Cooish. The Cooish is exceptionally busy this year, as we were saying, 20-something different events over the course of the 6th to the 10th of November. There are programmes out there, as ever, and they're in both Manx and English, aren't they?
Yes.
And first of all, where can people get the programmes, so we don't forget that?
Well, all over the island, really. I've just been putting them in a scotch of different places, and some of my students and other organisations who are organising events for the Cooish as well have been putting them in different places. So libraries, welcome centres, up here at Manx Radio, those sorts of places you'll find them as well, and bus stations and things like that should be around. But also online, so you can find them all online. If you're an online user, you go to learnmanx.com/Cooish, and I'll just spell Cooish for you, for anyone who doesn't know how to spell it. COOISH. COOISH.
Worth doing that, because we'd already had Matty G messaging in saying, I thought that was the panda.
Wow.
Which made me laugh. Thanks,
yes.
Matty G.
Very similar name.
Very similar. So a couple of things we just want to mention before you go, because you've got some visiting guests coming over especially for this, haven't you?
Yes, absolutely. So visiting guests will be Joy Dunlop, not the motorbike rider, and also Ron Jappy. Yeah, so Joy Dunlop is a wonderful Scottish Gaelic singer, and she's coming over to perform on the Friday night with Ron, who's a really great guitarist. But Joy's also really well known in Scotland. She's a BBC television presenter for BBC Alpa and also BBC Scotland, and she also, she's kind of she's been described as something of a one-woman Gaelic machine, but it really does describe her very well. She's brilliant. She's one of the directors of World Gaelic Week as well, so we can learn an awful lot from her. So Joy and Ron will be doing a performance at the Centenary Centre in Peel on Friday the 8th of November at 7:30, and it's £12.50 for adults, £5 for under 16s, and you can get tickets at unchrunyacht.com or celticgathering.im, and that'll be really lovely. But as well as doing that concert, which is organised by Unchrunyacht Celtic Gathering Festival, they'll be doing some school performances as well, so some outreach work like that. That's sponsored by Soundcheck charity Isle of Man, so Gura Mayo to Soundcheck, and also they'll be doing some workshops on the Saturday, the 9th of November. So the ones that Joy are doing is related to Scottish Gaelic, and Ron happens to be doing some instrumental and guitar workshops, which are not part of the Cooish, but they happen to be going on at the same time. So if you're a guitarist who wants to learn how to play traditional style guitar, or you're an instrumentalist who wants to do some Scottish tunes, please do go have a look at manxmusic.com for details of those. But also the ones that Joy's going to be running. So she and I are going to be running sort of tag teaming some language and song workshops. I'll be doing a song workshop, trad Manx Gaelic stuff at 10:30 till 11:30 in the Peel Methodist Church, which is just opposite the Peel Centenary Centre. At the same time, Joy will be doing Come and Try Scottish Gaelic, which is a language workshop for absolute beginners. And then we'll swap over and Joy will do from 12:15 until 1:45 some Scottish Gaelic traditional songs, whilst I do some Come and Try Manx. And then we join together at 1:30 until 3:00, and both of us are going to teach together and do a choral workshop doing really simple Manx and Scottish Gaelic repertoire. And I've translated, along with Paul Rogers, a Gaelic blessing for that. So it's a lovely, round, deep piece of the flowing air to you, that sort of thing, and really gorgeous. So come and sing, and they're all free. They're all free, and you don't need to book. Just need to know when they're on, where they're on. So go to the programme.
Yeah, get the programme either online or pick one up so you can flick through it, and then you can learn a bit of Manx in the programme as well. It is a fabulous thing, the Cooish, the Manx Language Festival, 6th to the 10th of November. A whole scutch of people have come together to make this happen and make sure that it's free, obviously. So do go online, do check it out. learnmanx.com/Cooish, COOISH. Ruth, as ever, Gurumai Mored for coming in to see us. All that information is online, and have a lovely Cooish, if you can even say that.
Oh, you can say have a lovely Cooish. Well, Gurumai Chrissy, Gurumai, thanks for having me. It's been lovely to speak with you.
Himu!
Himu!
Manx Radio's 1 to 3, tended by Ramsey Garden Centre.